Welcome to my channel. I appreciate every single person that comes to my channel, that watches my videos, that likes them, that comments on them, that shares them. And I can't believe how many people are subscribing to my channel. I'm up over in the 190s now, which I never would have thought would have happened. I thought I'd get maybe a handful of people. But there's lots of you watching, so I'll just keep producing videos. Tonight I want to talk about the Colorado game. They just finished. Colorado won 27-24. They played Arizona State in Arizona. It wasn't pretty, and I want to talk about some of the things that I saw in that game. I thought the game was kind of disappointing. After the game that they played last week, I thought that Colorado would come out really playing well from the very beginning. They came out in the second half against USC, and they played outstanding football on both sides of the ball. And I thought that would carry over. My impression was that the Colorado team was starting to gel, starting to find itself, and that it would be playing much better in the future. I was clearly wrong. They took a step back in this game. The defense played poorly. They were out of position many times. They made mistakes in alignments and coverage that cost them. They had lots of penalties that cost them. The offense struggled again. They managed to get enough done to win the game, but that's about it. If they play like this against some of the better teams in the Pac-12, they're not going to win any games, that's for sure. If they play UCLA or Oregon State or Washington State like they played Arizona State, they'll put up some L's for sure. So I thought I'd take a quick look at the box score since it's already up. And the first thing I noticed was they had a total of 62 plays, but only 19 of them were running plays, not counting Shedeur. And I don't count the quarterback because sacks are considered running plays and they hurt the overall running average, but they don't really tell you what's going on with the running backs. So when I do my calculations, I ignore all the statistics for the quarterbacks, and I just take the running backs and other people like pass receivers who run in running plays, and I look at their totals. And they only had 19 running plays with the running backs. Only 19. That's not enough. They've got to run the ball more. You cannot skimp on the running game and keep the quarterback from being sacked. And if you look at this game, Shedeur got sacked over and over and over again. I mean, just continually. I don't know if I guess we do have the defensive totals here, so let's look at the sacks. Arizona State got a total of 5. So they now have, through 6 games, Colorado has given up 34 sacks. That's tied for the worst in the NCAA, the absolute worst. That has to change. I don't really understand what's going on. I took a look at the size of the defensive line and the size of the offensive line. I actually did a video on that, and I'll post a link to that in the comments on this one, in the description, I mean. But they have the size. They're comparable in terms of height and weight to all the big boys, Alabama, Georgia, Oregon, all of them. But there's something missing. I don't know if it's a lack of skill or it's a lack of talent or it's just a lack of want to. I would hate to think it was a lack of want to, but if it isn't a lack of want to, then it's got to be just a complete lack of talent. They just don't have the talent to play in the big leagues. I mean, that's the bottom line. Neither the defensive line nor the offensive line. Towards the end of the game, they tend to play better. And I think that may be due to the fact that they're a very well-conditioned team. And because they're well conditioned, they wear down the other team, and eventually they start getting sacks. I mean, they had a total of 5 sacks on the Arizona State team, so they did just as well sack-wise as Arizona State did, but most of their sacks came in the second half, which indicates that the offensive line apparently on Arizona State is wearing down. But for whatever reason, they just have not quite figured it out yet. They haven't quite got it together. Both on the offensive line and the defensive line, they just haven't figured it out yet. I don't know why. I'm not smart enough when it comes to football to know the answers to that. Maybe there's somebody who can put something in the comments that they see, if they're an expert, that explains it. But I just don't get it. I don't understand why they don't seem to be improving at all. I'm not seeing any improvement. And it's clear that they're missing Travis Hunter in the secondary. But I didn't see Cormani McLean out there very much either, and I'm wondering why. I don't know what's going on with him, but clearly Prime doesn't think he's ready to play, or doesn't think he's earned the right to be on the field for whatever reason. And so he's not there. And he could be a powerful force in the secondary as well, although possibly the reason why he's
just
not
in case you
playing
didn't
is
know,
because he
still on
does make
halftime
mistakes,
right
and
now,
those
guys.
mistakes can be costly. But if you look at the box score,
Everybody tuning in,
you'll
we're on
see
halftime right now.
and if you watch the
17-14.
game, you saw an ugly game. You saw a game that was ugly on both sides of the ball. And based on what we saw in the second half of the USC game,
both teams going for their
a
first
very
Pac-12
disappointing
win of the
outing
year.
to me. I don't think the temperature in Arizona was affecting them. They didn't seem to be getting tired at the end of the game.
Who got the best jokes?
I just don't know what it
section?
is. I don't understand.
Who got the best jokes in the comment section? Bro, CP has been very clear. Players and
I
coaches
cannot
will be
explain
evaluated.
why
People don't understand.
the lines
CP can
on
love
this
you
team are not
and
playing
cut
better
you
than they
from
are.
the team,
it
dog.
just
It's
doesn't
simple.
make any sense to me.
Can love you
They've
and
got
cut
the
you.
size, they've
I
got
can
the
love
height,
you
they've
and
got
cut
the
you. Dog. I
weight.
can love you from afar, dog.
Apparently,
But you
they
ain't gonna
don't
be on
have
the
the
team.
talent. And that's the bottom line. They don't have the talent. So it's going to take another year for Dion to get some players in that have got the talent to play on those lines. People that are disruptive in the defense, and people that are much better at pass and run blocking than these guys are. If I was the coach of Colorado, I'd be throwing chairs around, screaming, matter and fire. So clearly I'm not the right person to be a coach, because I couldn't accept this kind of poor play. But Dion seems to have infinite patience with these guys. And I think, too, he knows that he's not playing with the best bunch on the field. He doesn't have the greatest talent on the lines, and so he has to be forgiving because they're not up to the task. But I think that's becoming very clear after 6 games, that neither line is up to the task. We can only hope that somehow they will improve. They get Stanford next week at home. They should beat Stanford, but of course they should have beat Arizona State too, and they barely did. So I think probably they'll barely beat Stanford too. But boy, when they go into the rest of their schedule after the bye, they're going to have to play much, much better with a lot fewer mistakes, or they're not going to win any more games. And they'll end up being 5 and whatever it is, 7, I guess, 5 and 7. They've got to play better. They just have to. If they don't, they're not going to go to a bowl game. It's that simple. So that's my first take on the game. That's my analysis of what I saw. If you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, put it in the comments. Let me know what you think, what you saw in the game. Maybe I missed something. But in either case, let me know what you think. And as always, I pray that you will prosper. that you will be in good health and have a long life, and I pray that God will keep you safe, that it will keep everyone that you love safe. And I pray that you will be anxious for nothing, but in all things, through prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, you'll let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which passes all understanding, will keep your heart and mind in Christ Jesus. Vietnam era vet out.